Hey guys, a lot of people are going for stars above 22 now since the new update, and a new power spike has arose. Let's talk about it. First of all, let's talk about laddering and how it works and why you should do it. So think about laddering as like climbing a ladder. You step up with 1 foot at a time, with left foot, then right foot, then left foot, and so on. In this sense, it's evening out your stars. It's similar to roulette, but laddering is the same item being used. Let's use my Berserk for this example. This is something you can get early on from Hard Lotus, and also endgame players use it still, since it is part of your pitch boss set. So I have a 22 Berserk, and if I want to ladder to 23, I would need a spare. The reason being is I don't want to keep tricking myself and keep booming the same Berserk over and over again. If we want 22 stars, we'll revert it back to 17 stars. You can safeguard it back to 18, but then you will still essentially lose 4 stars in the end. You may feel bad about spending so much money to double prime and flaming the Berserk, but the stars are far outweigh the costs, which I'll break down in a little bit. So back to laddering, you want a spare Berserk to 22 first. Once you're ready to ladder, you have the one you're wearing at 22, and then the spare. You want to tap the spare first. The reason being is if the spare booms, you still have your main Berserk that's already done. If you tap your main one first and it booms, you have a naked 22 Berserk that you just have to redo the pots and flames anyways. You will have to do this regardless with this technique, but the first example will make you not spend unnecessary money if the spare booms. If the spare goes to 23, well, congrats, big gains. Then you tap the one you're wearing on your item, or the main one, and you pray that it goes. So from here, one of two things can happen. First thing is that it goes 23 and you have two 23 items. Congrats. And you repeat the ladder till one booms or until you're satisfied. Second option being you boom your main item, then you have the spare one that's naked. If the second option happens, keep the 23 stars and you just repot and reflame it like usual. I wouldn't go too hard on it since you're basically just juggling between two items at a time. For the Berserk, for example, just get rail 3 lines like 33% and a decent flame. Just keep it till you're satisfied, and then wait your next spare and ladder again. The next question is, what star do you settle on? Well, that depends on you really. Personally, I have a lot of friends that have 25 or 26 stars. They either don't have any more spares or that's just what they want to keep. If you look at the boom chart, 25 stars is where the success rate drops to 7%, and the boom chance starts to rise a little bit. Personally, I'll settle on 25 if I even get there. So explaining the laddering, well, let's break down some numbers. The first thing we're going to talk about is the stack conversion. I'll be using MathBro's stack calculator for my Cadena and input my stats. This is important in a little bit. The important bit we want to see here is the attack to main stat line. The percent off stat line is used for the example which I'll talk about in a bit. In the case of my Cadena, 1% attack is about 3.5 stats. So in the case of my Berserk, if I tap it to 23, it would give me 19 attack. 19 attack multiplied by the 3.5 stats is 66.5 stats. And once again in the MathBro site, I calculated the probability of me hitting 23. And the average is 15 bill and about 4 booms. And this is with the boom reduction event, of course. Now let's talk about double priming my Berserk. I put in all the stats, and the average is about 67 bill, or 3% stats. Assuming my previous Berserk was 33% and I was aiming for 36. Either way, it's calculated if I were to get 3% more stats. Anyways, for my Cadena stat equivalent, there's no option for just the percent stats, since Cadena uses 3 stats. But the percent all stats is the best case scenario. So 1% all stats gives me 16.6% stats for my Cadena. If you multiply by 3 for the 3% stats, that's roughly 50 stats. To summarize, I can spend 15 bill on event and maybe boom some spares to gain 66.5 stats. Or I could spend 67 bill, more than 4 times the amount for 3% stats, and only gain 50 stats. It's just not very cost effective to double prime anymore, unless you're just done with starforcing with whatever your auto is. Or you're just a good looker and hit and just throw some cheeky cubes here and there. But anyways, I'm gonna stop double priming my gear. I hope this was very informative, and I'll link everything I used below if you want to do your own numbers. Alright, I'll see you in the next one.